you daunted? Are you worried? Are you fearful? Are you exhilarated? What's the emotion that goes through you?
I'm determined.
On a policy level, what's going to be different starting on January 20th when you take office when it comes to dealing with the pandemic?
Well, there's going to be a couple things. Number one, it's going to be important we set out national standards to let the... Look, we met with governors, Democrat and Republican, as well as 50 Democrat and Republican mayors. And they said they need guidance. They need guidance. And they're going to need a fair amount of money. I'm hoping the Senate in this lame duck session will come up with some help to make sure we can keep people moving, keep people in their, even if their jobs, even if they have to close restaurants and bars, they're able to maintain their business while they're out. And I think my inclination, Jake, is in the first day I'm inaugurated to say I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask. Just 100 days to mask. Not forever, 100 days. And I think we'll see a significant reduction if we occur that. If that occurs with vaccinations and masking to drive down the numbers considerably.
You will be the oldest president ever inaugurated. Do you plan to get vaccinated before Inauguration Day? And will you do it in public the way that Presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton have suggested they're willing to?
I'd be happy to do that. When Dr. Fauci says we have a vaccine that is safe, that's the moment in which I will stand before the public and see that, look, part of what has to happen, Jake, and you know as well as I do, people have lost faith in the ability of the vaccine to work. Already the numbers are really staggeringly low. And it matters what a president and a vice president do. And so I think that my three predecessors have set the model as to what should be done, saying once it's declared to be safe, and then I think Barack said once Fauci says it's clear, that's my measure, then obviously we take it. And it's important to communicate to the American people it's safe.
The unemployment number still remains very high, and there's a desire for a relief package, another relief package, not just a desire, a need, a desperate need.
And what's immediately needed is relief for people in their unemployment checks, relief for people who are going to get thrown out of their apartments after Christmas because they can't afford to pay the rent anymore, relief on mortgage payments, relief on all the things that are in the original bill the House passed.
Madam Vice President, Vice President Pence right now is leading the COVID-19 task force. Are you going to continue that position? What will your specific portfolio be? And how do you plan on working with your new boss? Will you have weekly lunches? Will you be the last one he speaks to before he makes a decision, as then Vice President Biden did with then President Obama? How do you see your role?
Yes.
Yes to all of that? So COVID task force, weekly lunches.
I'll take the last point first, which is if the future is determined in any way based on what has been happening, we are full partners in this process. And I will tell you that the president-elect has been, since the first day he asked me to join him on the ticket, been very clear with me that he wants me to be the first and the last in the room. And so on every issue that impacts the American people, I will be a full partner to the president-elect and the president. And whatever our priorities are, I will be there to support him and support the American people.
There's not a single decision I've made yet about personnel or about how to proceed that I haven't discussed it with Kamala first.
That's true.
What has been, she was one of your fiercest competitors in the early days of the primary, and now she and Doug Emhoff, which, by the way, is he the second gentleman? Is he the second dude? What should we be calling him?
Well, I think that the term has evolved into the second gentleman.
The second gentleman,
yes,
okay.
Yes,
I like second dude, but
yeah.
I will defer.
I think some of his friends are inclined to say that.
But you'll call him the second gentleman.
No, I'll call him honey.
You'll call him honey, okay. Do you think, given George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, the social justice issues, the criminal justice reform issues, that a black attorney general would be the right direction?
Look, I'm going to be announcing the remaining 15 members of the cabinet. The first 8 members are the most diverse cabinet anyone in American history has ever announced. There are three white men, there are 3 men, there are 5 women, there are 5 people of color, 3 white people. I mean, this is going to be an incredibly diverse. I'm going to keep my commitment that the administration, both in the White House and outside in the cabinet, is going to look like the country. I promise you, you'll see the most diverse cabinet, representative of all folks, Asian Americans, African Americans, Latinos, LGBTQ, across the board.
Last month, Senator Bernie Sanders told the Associated Press it would be, quote, enormously insulting if your cabinet, the Biden-Harris cabinet, ignored progressive voices. Who would you point to now as a leading progressive voice in the cabinet?
Well, we're not done yet, Jake. So we're not even halfway there. So I think that we should have this conversation when we're done.
And there's a number of progressives that are you know, what I think people are saying is, a lot of people are saying, am I going to pick some very, very prominent and well-known progressive who sits in the House or the Senate right now? As close as everything is in terms of the House and the Senate, they are tough decisions to make. To pull somebody I'm going to badly need out of the Senate, and we now don't reelect or have an appointment of somebody who is a Democrat. And so it is, I think people are going to see, not only at the cabinet level, but at the sub-cabinet level, there's already people we've appointed, and we'll appoint many more. But it is not, again, I understand the push. I truly understand the push.
Many Republican senators, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, have not even yet called you to congratulate you or said publicly that you are the president-elect, just acknowledged basic reality. You have retained and remained optimistic about your ability to work with McConnell. Why have you not yet spoken with McConnell, and how can you be optimistic about working with a group of individuals who have not even yet acknowledged that you're the president-elect?
I say this tactfully.
You don't have to be tactful.
No, I do, because I don't want to. There have been more than several sitting Republican senators who privately called me and congratulated me. And I understand the situation they find themselves in. And until the election is clearly decided in the minds where the Electoral College votes, they get put in a very tough position.
You're still confident?
Yeah, no, look, it's going to be hard. I'm not suggesting it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but I'm confident that on the things that affect the national security and the fundamental economic necessity to keep people employed, to get people employed, to bring the economy back, there's plenty of room we can work.
You, too, have proposed an ambitious climate agenda. Mm-hmm. You've named John Kerry as your climate envoy. Realistically, any significant change is going to be an uphill battle with such a closely divided House and Senate, no matter how the Georgia runoffs go. What can you do that will both genuinely address the issue and won't just get reversed by the next Republican president, will actually be legislative?
No, I agree with you. Our agenda is pretty progressive. And some might call it ambitious, but we, the American people, and frankly the world, can't afford anything less. The clock is ticking rapidly on this issue, and the president-elect has made it very clear that we are going to approach this in a way that we know the vast majority have so much more in common than what separates us. So we have reason to be optimistic about what is possible. It will not be easy. It will require a convening. But as the president-elect always says, look, this, as much as anything, is also about jobs. It's about investing in research and development. It's about investing in the American worker with jobs that are well-paying jobs, good union, well-paying jobs. And I think that there is more consensus than one might think.
The irony is we have 4 crises. The first crisis is COVID. Second is the economic close to recession and maybe worse. The third crisis is the inequity that exists and the racial inequity that exists. And the fourth crisis is climate. Ironically, they all work for one another. The first time the American people looked out there and said, my Lord, I guess all those things I heard about, and even though I don't live in neighborhoods that have large black populations, I didn't realize police actually do those kind of things like I saw with George Floyd. Or say that, you know, I met with, before I announced my climate plan, I knew what it was going to be. I went to all the major unions and said, guys, here's what I'm going to do, but let me tell you why it's in your interest. And so it's not so much people when they stop and everybody told me, even my own team told me 10 months ago, you're not going to get unions to go along with you. Well, yes, they are, because they now realize they're not going to be left out. And they are the way to grow the economy.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons for his adult children and for Rudy Giuliani. He's also floated the idea in private conversations, according to our reporting, of possibly pardoning himself, which he insists he has the power to do, though that has never been litigated. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. Look, our Justice Department is going to operate independently on those issues, that how to respond to any of that. I'm not going to be telling them what they have to do and don't have to do. I'm not going to be saying, go prosecute A, B, or C. I'm not going to be telling them. That's not the role. It's not my Justice Department. It's the people's Justice Department.
President Trump has not said if he's going to attend your inauguration yet. Do you think it's important that he's there? You're laughing.
I think it would important only in one sense, not in a personal sense, important in the sense that we are able to demonstrate at the end of this chaos that he's created that there is peaceful transfer of power with the competing parties standing there, shaking hands and moving on. I think that's an important, what I worry about, Jake, more than the impact on the domestic politics, I really worry about the image we're presenting to the rest of the world. But it is totally his decision, and it's of no personal consequence to me, but I do think it is for the country.
What does it feel like, especially at this moment when this nation is in any number of crises, including the COVID crisis? What does it feel like? Are you daunted? Are you worried? Are you fearful? Are you exhilarated? What's the emotion that goes through you?
I'm determined, and I'm confident that what I've said from the outset, I've never changed my view, this whole campaign for over almost going on 600 days, exactly what had to be done. We have to restore the soul of this country, meaning honor, decency, honesty, basic fundamental decency. The second thing, we have to rebuild the backbone of this country, the middle class, that and this time bring everybody along. And thirdly, we have to unite the country. They're all going to be difficult to do, but I've never veered from those three principles. And so I look at it as an opportunity to make an incredible contribution to the country.
I believe that we are all very fortunate that Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States. Joe Biden is someone who has endured real struggle and sacrifice and pain. He also is someone who knows love. He is someone who has dedicated his life to public service. And there couldn't be a more extreme exercise in stark contrast between the current occupant of the White House and the next occupant of the White House. And I do believe our country is going to be the better for the outcome of this election and the election of Joe Biden as president.
Madam Vice President-elect, Mr. President-elect, thank you so much for this interview and this opportunity.